I wouldn't know. The cool voice of Mr. Ambrose drifted to my ears. I cannot see it from where I am standing. Really, what a pity. I sighed again. Why don't you come over and see? His hands twitched around the wood of the chair. I can't. Wouldn't you like to sit down, my dear? No, thank you, Dick. I'm fine where I am for now. Indeed. Yes, indeed. The sea is so beautiful in the sunset. I could almost feel his cold stare drilling holes in my neck. Acting as if it didn't bother me in the least, I took out my fan and began to wave it lazily, stirring up a breeze in the hot evening air. When I sneaked a peek at him out of the corner of my eye, he was still standing in exactly the same place, rigid as a column of marble, holding out the chair for me, the vision of a perfect gentleman. I waved my fan again, just for the fun of it, and thought I heard a low growl from behind me, out of Mr. Ambrose's direction. But maybe I was mistaken. Sir, madam, your menus. The waiter had returned, holding 2 leather-bound menus with golden cursive script on the covers. They already looked good enough to eat. Water ran in my mouth at the thought of what the actual food would taste like. What do you say, Dick? Graciously wandering over, I gave Mr. Ambrose one of my most charming smiles. Should we sit down to eat? His dark eyes met mine, and there was the promise of cold-blooded murder in them. I think that would be wise, love. Oh, all right, if you insist. Giving my fan another casual wave, I slowly sank onto the chair he was holding out for me, and he shoved it forward with enough force to squash my stomach against the table. How rude. I had to work hard to suppress a smirk. There, I hope you sit comfortably, my dear. Why, of course. Pushing back, I rubbed my aching stomach muscles. Thank you. You are always concerned about me, Dick, my dear. It's really touching. Folding himself onto the chair opposite me, Mr. Ambrose met my gaze with cool, unfathomable eyes. Nothing more than what you deserve, my love. Taking a seat, Mr. Ambrose held his hand out. The waiter reached out to both of us, wanting to hand one menu to Mr. Ambrose and one to me, but Mr. Ambrose snatched both away from him. We'll need a little time to decide, he informed the man briskly. Come back in a quarter of an hour. Yes, sir, of course, sir. Once the waiter had disappeared again, I nodded to the 2 menus. So hungry that you need 2 menus to decide, for you, Dick, my dear. You'll have to watch yourself so you don't gain too much weight. We don't want you coming back from our honeymoon looking all puffed up like a football, like you did that time you came back from Monte Carlo. Lowering the menus far enough so he could stare at me over the top, he said, in an icy voice too low for anyone else to hear, what are you talking about? I've never been to Monte Carlo. I shrugged, just keeping up the pretense, my dear. We are a happy married couple with a lot of history, after all. And married people talk like that, do they? So far as I know. His dark eyes bored into me. Then I am devoutly grateful that this is only a charade. I returned his dark look with a bright smile, a feeling which I sincerely return. Casting a quick look around to see if anyone was listening, I leaned forward and whispered, so, what are you doing with 2 menus? This, sliding the menus off the table, he shoved them under the tablecloth. There was a rustling sound, and a moment later, the menus re-emerged. He handed me one. I frowned, turning it around. It looked exactly as it had before. Holding it up, I tapped on the side. Maybe there was a hidden compartment somewhere, or a latch, or... Open it, came a low hiss from Mr. Ambrose. My heart made a leap. Had he hidden something inside? A secret document, maybe. Well, there was only one way to find out. With a cautious glance around to make sure nobody was looking, I let the menu fall open. Tilde Hotel Luxor Tilde. Live like a king on the Nile. List of appetizers. By golly, now that was some impressive secret document. I could see why Mr. Ambrose would make such a fuss about this. What did we have here? Winter salad marinated in French dressing. Crab puffs with chives. Potato salad. Cucumber basil sandwiches. Caviar on toast. Cranberry sauce. Cream cheese. Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. I hardly knew the words to express how impressed I was not. Looking up at Mr. Ambrose, I raised an eyebrow. Yummy, I love cream cheese. His little finger twitched. Turn the page, he growled, glaring suspiciously at an elderly couple who were passing not very far from us. They looked about as likely candidates for spies as Mr. Ambrose did for a loving husband. I turned the page. Seafood, I read aloud. Lobster, crabs, oysters, again. Turn the page again. Rolling my eyes, I did as he said, and started to read aloud again. Map of the peninsula of. Then I realized what I was seeing, and the sharp kick from Mr. Ambrose under the table a moment later brought it home with force. I glared at him. That wasn't necessary. I'd say it was very necessary, was his cool reply. Read, but not aloud. Yes, thank you, I got that. I lowered my eyes to the menu again. There, nestled between 2 pages of the ornately printed lists of dishes, was another piece of paper. One that most certainly did not belong to the Hotel Luxor. Under the caption map of the peninsula of Sinai, it showed a roughly triangular stretch of land, surrounded by water nearly everywhere, and only attached by thin strips of earth to the rest of Egypt in the west and Arabia in the east. Over the peninsula, snaky dotted lines wound from one end to the other. I looked up at Mr. Ambrose. The lines. Caravan routes. I frowned. Why are they so roundabout? Why aren't they straight? Because most men prefer to ride around mountains rather than to the top and down again, my dear. There's also the little issue of not dying of thirst. Oases seldom have the good manners to be arranged in a straight line. The arrogant son of a... I was tempted to kick him under the table but, with admirable self-control, refrained from doing so. Instead, I looked down at the map again. There were dozens of crosses all along the dotted lines. What were those? Cities. But then I saw the caption beside one of the crosses. Robbery site. A cold shiver went down my back. So many, and at least 20 men dead for every cross on this map. This was going to be one heck of an adventure, more than I had bargained for. What are we going to do? I asked, my voice unusually quiet. We'll be starting our inquiries tomorrow morning. Inquiries? I looked up. Mr. Ambrose's face was hidden behind his menu. For anyone who looked over, it had appeared as if he was intently studying his choice of seafood. Yes, Miss Linton, you don't think I intend to simply charge off into the desert, do you? No, I hadn't thought that. There were always plans with him, and plans behind the plans. There are agents of Dalgleish in this city, remember. If we can find one of them, maybe encourage him to talk. One of his hands let go of the menu and, picking up a knife from the table, welded in a manner that said more than 1,000 words. If we can find out where the bandits are operating, our task will become much easier. That is when we will set out eastwards. My eyes flitted across the map, confused. Why, aren't we supposed to be going south? Not from Alexandria, no. Most of my goods came in through another coastal city, Damietta. Since we want to retrace the caravan's tracks as closely as possible, that's where we're going to start out. Blimey, this was like half a geography lesson. I found the word Damietta printed beside a big fat black blob on the map. Most of the dotted lines ended there or started, depending on your point of view. I see, and then? We're going to follow the caravan. How about the lobster, dearest? I thought you loved lobster. What? I stared at him, uncomprehending. We're going to follow a lobster through the desert. Or the oysters, Mr. Ambrose continued, kicking me under the table. His eyes darted to the left, and only then I noticed the waiter who was walking past close by, a tray of caviar in his hand. He was well within hearing distance. Well, yes, I do like lobster. So much. At home, I eat lobster all the time, as you know. Breakfast, dinner, supper, always lobster for me. Yummy. Lobster tastes so. Another kick hit my shin. I glared at him. All right, maybe I had slightly overdone it, but that was no reason for domestic abuse. I like oysters, too, but tonight I would prefer something less slippery. What about you, Dick? Now the ball is back in his court. Let's see what he does with it. I think that I'll have crab puffs with chives for starters, Mr. Ambrose invented, effortlessly. And after that, maybe a route from Damietta southwards until we reach Raseda. Excuse me. Mr. Ambrose gave me a look, one of those looks that said he knew perfectly well his intelligence was infinitely superior to mine, but did I have to demonstrate it all the time? I said, we're going to follow the caravan route from Damietta southwards until we reach Raseda. Oh, of course. The waiter was out of hearing range again. What in God's name is Ras? What's it? Raseda, an ancient desert town at the end of the Gulf of Suez. My head started to whirl from all the names. What's the Gulf of? I bit my tongue. No, you're not going to ask this time. You're going to find out by yourself. Pulling myself together, I stared down at the map. There it was, the Gulf of Suez. It was a little patch of ocean, where the Red Sea met the southern tip of the triangle of land that was the Sinai Peninsula. The sea split in two, creating the Gulf of Suez in the west, and some other gulfy gulf in the east. And there, right at the end of the Gulf of Suez, was the town of Raseda, just as Mr. Ambrose had said. I traced one of the dotted lines down from Damietta southwards to the other city. It seemed to be pretty much the shortest route. How long do you think it will take us to find someone who knows where the bandits are? When do you think we'll be able to leave? That is difficult to say. Anything from the lobster is really delicious, darling. I tried it when I was last here, and I tell you, it was food fit for the gods. Wah, ouch, oh. I didn't need the kick on the shin this time to realize what was going on. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw our waiter, return to take our orders, approach the table. Have you decided yet, sir, madam? Hurriedly, I tried to cover up the map with my elbow. But it was too bloody big. In desperation, my eyes flitted across the pages of the menu, looking for something to order. Would like the potato salad, please, and a robbery on toast. Deathly silence descended over the table. My words echoed in my own ears, slowly sinking in. Caviar on toast, I mean, not the other stuff I said. That would be ridiculous, right? Caviar, that's all. Caviar on toast, please. More silence. Slowly, I dared to look up. The waiter stared at me as if I had grown a second head. A green one, with horns. And as for Mr. Ambrose, I did not even want to look around to see how he was looking at me. I heard his voice, colder than the very heart of the Arctic, burning into me like frostbite. We'll have toast, too, please. But without the caviar. He closed his menu with a snap. As the waiter bustled away, his dark, sea-colored eyes found me, and there was a storm brewing in them. We two, he whispered, must have a discussion on how to properly act our roles. His hand reached out, brushing against mine with a feather-light touch. A very detailed discussion. Oh dear. In dark alleys. Caviar on toast didn't actually taste very well. A bit salty, and not more. But maybe the fact that I didn't enjoy my meal didn't actually stem as much from the meal itself, as from the fact that Mr. Ambrose's frozen dark glare bored into me the entire time. It's hard to enjoy your food with that kind of evil force focusing on you. The minute I was finished with my meal, I sprang to my feet and began to hurry back to our suite. I wasn't going to stick around for wine and dessert and give him a chance to glare at me some more. Halfway up the stairs, a vice-like grip closed around my arm. Where are you going? Mr. Ambrose's cool voice said right into my ear. I hadn't even heard him approach. To bed. I'm tired. How unfortunate for you. The night is not over yet. Not by a long shot. What do you mean? Without a word, he began dragging me down the stairs again, and into a corridor leading out of the dining hall. Hey, let go. Act, Mr. Linton, act. You're my loving wife, remember. Wives do not speak like that to their husbands. And husbands don't manhandle a wife like this. Actually, many of them do. My temper flared. Well, they shouldn't. That's outrageous. Depends. On what, pray? He gave me a look that froze my toes and set my heart on fire. What their intentions are, I might be dragging you off for a secret place for a romantic tryst. My eyes went wide. Why you aren't, are you? No. Oh, I felt relief flood through me mingled with a tiny bit of disappointment. What's disappointment doing inside you, Lily Linton? You have no business being disappointed. Clearing my throat, I hurried to get my thoughts back on the right path. So, where the bloody hell are you dragging me off to? Mr. Ambrose halted abruptly. We were standing in the middle of an empty corridor. Throwing a quick look around to check for an audience, he whirled around to face me. Before I could move a muscle, he had picked me up right off the floor, pushing me against the wall. His hard chest dug into places on my body I can mention in polite society. To judge by the look in Mr. Ambrose's eyes, he was not going to be polite. Damn you, his eyes flared with cold fire, ferocity and fear. Can't you act like a loving wife for 2 minutes in a row? An involuntary smile appeared on my face. I had no idea why. Shouldn't I have been afraid? Pressed up against a cold wall in a strange country, in the clutches of a ruthless man whose morals were more than questionable, yes, I should have been afraid. But with his strong arms around me, and his gaze burrowing into me as if it wanted to dig itself into my soul, all I felt was powerful. The feeling rushed up inside me like a hot geyser, and wouldn't be contained. That depends, I breathed. Can you act like a loving husband? He surged forward, pinning me to the wall like butterfly. He claimed my lips for one single, hard, ferocious kiss and then pulled back. Loving enough for you, he growled. It's a start. My voice sounded strange in my own ears, full of 1,000 emotions I can comprehend, let alone name. Neither could he, to judge by the look in his eyes. For a moment, he just gazed at me, the silence between us stretching. Then, finally, he spoke. We are going into very dangerous territory tonight. If anyone there finds out who I really am, it is doubtful we will come out alive. You will need to play your role to perfection. If you can't, he told me, his voice sinking to a low and dangerous tone, I will be forced to teach you a lesson. Do you understand? My heart jumped. A lesson? No, I bloody well did not understand. What did he mean? But, looking into his dark eyes, I was too afraid to ask. Slowly, I nodded my head. Yes, sir. What's that? I mean yes, Derek. He held my gaze for a few moments more then nodded and let go. In a daze, I followed him outside to where the same coach in which we had travelled before was waiting for us. He held the door open for me. Come on, darling, he hollered in a cheerful tone I would never have believed him capable of, for all the world to hear and especially for any curious ears in the vicinity. It will be fun. We haven't seen anything of Alexandria yet except the hotel, and you wanted to go sightseeing, didn't you? I looked around. Several members of the hotel staff stood around, watching, so I smiled at him, and shrugged. I'd love to go, but I'm a bit tired. Don't you think we had better wait until morning? No, darling, not at all. He met my eyes. The city has a special atmosphere at night. We will enjoy ourselves immensely, trust me. There will be things to see we could never see in daylight, and maybe even more interesting things to hear. Well, I agree with you so far, I told Mr. Ambrose, watching a half-naked woman contort her body into agonizing shapes. I'm seeing things I've never seen in daylight, only I'm not too sure whether I actually ever wanted to see something like that. Immaterial, Mr. Ambrose told me, pulling me past the contortionist to the entrance of a house in front of which another woman with even less clothes on her body was performing a dance that let everything about her jiggle. We're here for work, not for pleasure. My eyes swept over the parts of the woman that jiggled the most. The eyes of all the men in the vicinity seemed to see nothing else. Only Mr. Ambrose's eyes were fully focused on the street beyond. Work, not pleasure. Are you sure we're in the right part of the city for that, my dear? In this case, yes. Our work involves buying information, and in this part of the city you can buy anything. We passed another house from which hoots, whistles, and ecstatic moans were issuing in a cacophony. I nodded, feeling a bit queasy. Yes, I can see what you mean, dear. I really must congratulate you. You picked the most fantastic places for sightseeing. Not deigning to respond to this, Mr. Ambrose tightened his hold on my arm and pulled me farther on. We had been walking for some time now, having been forced to leave the carriage behind over an hour ago, when the streets had gotten too narrow for it to pass. At first I had objected. Won't we be conspicuous? I had protested. This isn't the best part of town, to put it mildly. Wouldn't the gentleman and the lady in a fine dress stick out like peacocks in a henhouse? In answer, Mr. Ambrose had simply pointed out at the carriage window. Following his pointed finger, I saw a man in what looked suspiciously like a French admiral's uniform staggering along the street, each arm thrown around the neck of a very pretty and very scantily dressed girl. Not far behind him came a party of 3 gentlemen and 1 lady, obviously all tight as owls. 17. Rich people come here to waste their money, he told me, his tone indicating what he thought of people like that. There are places like this in any big city in the world. We won't even be noticed. And we were not. Apart from the fact that every 5 minutes somebody tried to sell us something, we were pretty much ignored. And when Mr. Ambrose pulled me off the main street into a dark alley, even the hawkers disappeared. It became ever quieter the farther we ventured into the darkness. The figures that passed us now weren't wearing admirals' uniforms. Most of them kept their faces hidden. Suddenly, I heard a noise behind us and swiveled my head around. Nothing. The alley was just as dark as before. Shrugging, I let Mr. Ambrose lead me further. Tap, tap. There it was again. Footsteps this time, definitely. Twisting out of Mr. Ambrose's grip, I whirled around just in time to see a dark shadow press itself against the wall, melting into the gloom. Someone is following us. Mr. Ambrose didn't even bother to turn around. Tugging on my arm, he dragged me along with him. Of course they are. But all your talk about remaining inconspicuous and hidden, I thought we'd gotten away so far with being Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. We have. Those men who are following us work for me. For you. Certainly, as do the men following them. Wait a minute, you have men following us, correct? Why? To protect us, of course. And you have men following the men who are following us, also correct. For heaven's sake, why? To protect the men who are following us, of course. Do they know about it? Certainly not. Something in my brain made click, just in case they turn out to be traitors and try to attack us instead of protecting us. You, my dear, Mr. Ambrose told me, throwing me a look out of his dark eyes that made me shiver from top to bottom, are a wife after my own heart. Amazingly, he actually sounded like he meant it, and, blasted fool that I was, I couldn't help but grin with pride. A wife after my own heart, he said. Bloody hell, what was wrong with me? I was not married to him, I wasn't married to anyone, and certainly intended to keep it that way. And what if someone attacks us from the front? I asked, forcing my thoughts back on the matter at hand. Then they will run into a group of energetic, knife-wielding individuals whom you have not noticed yet. Something similar would happen to anyone trying to attack our flanks. I know how to take precautions, wife. I can see that, Dick. His hold on my arm tightened. Do not call me that. I thought it perhaps wiser not to reply to this with a prim, yes, Dick. Not in a dark alley where I could be strangled without anybody raising an alarm, anyway. And Kareem, I asked instead. He's not far, he never is. I believed that. Mr. Ambrose's Mohammedan bodyguard was huge as a mountain and strong as a titan, but he could move with the stealth of a little black kitten in the dark. In front of us, for the first time in a long while, I heard noises. Laughter, to be exact. Not far away down the alley, light spilled from a doorway. At my side, I felt Mr. Ambrose change his course slightly. Ah, so that's the place we're heading for. Not the most inviting of establishments, I had to say, but maybe the exterior didn't reflect the inside. Reaching the doorway, Mr. Ambrose pulled aside the curtain that was half drawn across it, and led me inside. My mouth dropped open. I had been right. The exterior did not reflect the inside properly. I didn't think there could be an exterior to a building that fit this atrocious interior and still was legal. The whole place was half in darkness. The red and green paper lamps dangling from the ceiling cast only a murky light on the proceedings around me, and for that, I was profoundly grateful. In the gloom, I could see scantily clad bodies swaying from side to side. Men were sitting around on cushions, inhaling smoke out of strange, bubbling, water-filled contraptions, their eyes fixed on the spectacle in front of them. Somewhere in the background, a woman was singing in a throaty voice. Somewhere in the foreground, other women were doing other things. Unbelievable. I was about to open my mouth to let loose a tirade, when I felt Mr. Ambrose's hand tighten around my arm. We are here to do business, his cold voice reached my ear. Not to hold a lecture against the objectification and oppression of womanhood. Are we understood, my dear? I took a deep breath. If I thought that would help me calm down, I was mistaken. I got a mouthful of the poisonous fumes emanating from the pipes, and felt the need to vomit. Clenching my jaws shut tightly, I nodded. Hold it together, Lily. You can do this. Adequate. Do you see that man over there? Following a discreet gesture of his with my eyes, I saw a fat man reclining on a pile of cushions in one of the more secluded corners. He was dark-skinned, but not nearly as much as some of the Egyptians I had seen. Also, the form of his face looked slightly different. That is the man we've come to do business with, Signor Bertolino. Ah, Bertolino. That explained his different looks all right. A Spaniard, or Italian? Mr. Ambrose's eyes flashed coldly. A worm, but a useful one. He knows everything that goes on in this part of Egypt, at least in disreputable quarters. If any of the bandits or Lord Dalglish's agents came into his domain to sell their stolen goods or buy supplies, he will be able to find out. Mr. Ambrose started forward, and I walked beside him, towards the fat man. We stopped not 2 feet away. Signor Bertolino. At Mr. Ambrose's words, the potbelly looked up. See. My name is Thompson. I sent a man to you not long ago, hinting that I might visit you and that I was interested in buying something. Mr. Thompson, the fat man's eyes narrowed. My congratulations, Signor. You are a most singular man. Many fellow Europeans have visited me here. He gestured to the den of iniquity around us. As a friendly gesture, you understand. But none of them knew of my more delicate business dealings. You must have extensive contacts. Sufficient. Mr. Ambrose allowed. May I sit? Marchetto, find yourself a free cushion. And the Signora, too. He gave me a smile so oily it could have been used 3 hinges of rust. Pick a cushion close to me, hey. Mr. Ambrose folded his long legs with surprising agility. I gave Signor Bertolino a death stare and sat down beside Mr. Ambrose, as far away from the smarmy man as I could get. A pipe, he offered, holding out one of the contraptions, from one of which he himself was smoking. Mr. Ambrose shook his head. No, I'm here for business only. The fat man gave a sigh. How sad. Well, what is it that you have come to buy, then? Information. Ah, the potbelly took a deep puff of his water pipe. Information, a most expensive thing to buy, and most delicate, too delicate for company. Leave us, my dear. He slapped one of the cushions that was sort of draped around him from behind. Go on, that'n. The cushion grumbled something, and then, what I had hitherto taken to be a skin-colored cushion rose to her feet. The half-naked woman curtsied, and hurried away. I stared after her in horror until I could feel Mr. Ambrose's grip around my hand tighten once more. The fat man's little pig eyes landed on me. Perhaps it would be better if the Signora leaves, too. We wouldn't want any secrets to come popping out of that pretty little mouth of hers, now, would we? I opened said pretty little mouth to tell him what exactly I thought of him, and where he could stuff his water pipe, but the pressure of Mr. Ambrose's hand stopped me. She stays. Ha, I had to work very hard to suppress a triumphant grin and it still didn't work. So what? I like triumphant grins on my face. Very well, Bertolino shrugged. It is your funeral. Now what is it that you wish to know, Signor? I am looking for a certain group of men. The potbelly's mouth twitched. That should be no problem. Just give me the descriptions. I know every alley of this city. Ah, but they're not in the city. I see. That complicates matters slightly, Signor. And what complicates them further is that I do not know the descriptions. The names. I do not know those either, Mr. Ambrose admitted. Maildetto, again, that twitch of the fat lips. No names, no faces. How do you know they exist at all, these men you seek? Because, Mr. Ambrose told him, his voice ice cold, they have been killing people. The lips stopped twitching. Ah, an effective way of proving your existence to the world. Indeed, and also a good way to interrupt business. The men I seek, they have been killing people who are transporting goods. Specifically camel drivers, and other members of caravans that take goods across the Sinai Peninsula, both from the Mediterranean to the Red Sea and vice versa. Oh, those enterprising gentlemen. One of Bertolino's eyebrows rose. The deeds are well known to me. There have always been bandit attacks on caravans, but they are a different sort. They have made quite a reputation for themselves. You should tread carefully, Signor Thompson. Mr. Ambrose met the small, mean eyes of the man head on. So should they. Bertolino sat there and puffed on his pipe for a moment, sizing up the lean, hard figure opposite him. Yes, maybe they should. A man in fez and kaftan approached Bertolino, and bowed. The fat man's attention was distracted from Mr. Ambrose, and he waved the newcomer closer. You there, what do you want? A message for you, Signor. Bending forward, the newcomer whispered something into Bertolino's ear. The potbelly nodded, and rose with a groan. Excuse me, for a moment, Signor Thompson, will you? There is a side matter I must attend to. I won't be a moment. Certainly, Signor, I shall wait here. I waited impatiently for the fat man to wobble away. The moment he was out of hearing range, a flood of words, kept at bay far too long, burst from my mouth. That man, and this place, bloody hell, I've never seen anything like it. It's abominable. It stinks of chauvinism even more than it stinks of those blasted pipes. Have you seen the men staring at those women? Yes. And the woman beside that fat excuse for a man. She was hardly wearing a thing. Mr. Ambrose gazed at me, his dark eyes unreadable. Was there a spark of amusement in there? There had better not be. I did not know you were such a staunch moralist, my darling. I glared at him. I'm not. It's not about what the women do. They have the freedom to do whatever they want. It's about the men staring. Ah, Mr. Ambrose nodded. So in your view, women can take their clothes off in public all they want, as long as men don't pay them for it. Blast him. Put like that, it did sound rather silly. Which it wasn't. Not at all. It was a point of principle. I shot him another glare. It's not right. Women shouldn't be treated like this. Mr. Ambrose ignored my glare as if it didn't exist. This place is called Dark Nights of Delight, my love. What did you expect? People with at least a little more clothing, and stop calling me, my love. Certainly, my love. That earned him another glare. The women, the addicts, I threw another glance around, and shuddered. Do all Egyptian bars and pubs look like this? Egyptian, Mr. Ambrose snorted. This place is owned by Signor Bertolino, who, in spite of his being a worm, is a bona fide Italian. Oh. Mr. Ambrose's face betrayed not a hint of emotion, not even disgust. Believe me, he knows far better than any Egyptian what fellow rich Europeans expect Egypt to look like. Here they get the genuine, Oriental experience they've always dreamed of, without having to bother with what Egypt really looks like. Well, then that's not just chauvinistic, it's chauvinistic trickery. He shrugged. Yes. Yes, is that all you have to say to it? What else shall I say, my dear? Ah, there comes Signor Bertolino. He did indeed, waddling across the floor towards us like an overweight gander. I tried not to shoot scathing glares at him, but it was very hard. Settling down again with a grunt, he picked up his water pipe and inhaled deeply. My apologies, Signor Thompson. Business is business. Of course, I understand. We were speaking of bandits, I believe. Indeed we were. So, Signor Bertolino, what can you tell me? That depends. What price are you willing to pay? Mr. Ambrose met his eyes coolly, evenly. None at all. There was a slight pause. Scusi, this time, the Italian raised both his eyebrows. You have an interesting conception of buying, Signor. I've often been told that. Now, seriously, what do you offer? How much? Seriously, not a single penny. Taking the water pipe out of the surprised Italian's hands, Mr. Ambrose leaned towards him. But, if you tell me everything you know about these bandits, I shall keep my mouth shut about a few things that I know. For instance,